Some voices there from Jerusalem with their views on the 12-day Iran-Israel war. Well, we've heard in the programme from Iran and from Gaza. Let's get the Israeli perspective now and speak to David Mencer. He's the Israeli government spokesman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate in the Office of the Prime Minister. Thank you for joining us on Newsday. We've just heard reports this morning that in the last few hours, at least 14 Palestinians were killed and dozens injured in Israeli military attacks across various areas of Gaza from early this morning, including 3 people waiting for humanitarian aid near the Wadi Gaza bridge. This is now a daily occurrence. Why has Israel chosen an aid delivery mechanism which has seen hundreds of people killed? Because it's designed to funnel tens of thousands of people through a front line to get food.
Good morning, Ione. Good to be with you. Just to be clear, those are Hamas figures. They're a terrorist organization. The BBC, till this day, refuses to call them a terrorist organization. It's a terrorist organization that savagely murdered 1,200 of my people. They raped our women. They mutilated our women. They beheaded our men, and they burnt our babies. They are a terrorist organization. Nothing that they tell you that you repeat.
Let's be clear, though, David, this is not just the Hamas-run health ministry. This is also medics, eyewitnesses, hospitals. We've seen images from hospitals reporting these scenes.
All the information that you get out of Gaza is cleared by Hamas. Whether they're doctors or medics, it's cleared by Hamas. For the simple reason that is, if you say anything against the Hamas regime, your life will be ended by Hamas. And the BBC needs to make that precisely clear.
Well, it is not just the Hamas-run health ministry reporting these figures. It is also medics, it is eyewitnesses, it is hospitals reporting these scenes.
You are unable to say anything against the Hamas regime because your life will be ended by the Hamas regime. That is a fact. That is a fact in Gaza. So everything which comes out of Gaza reported, which you say as fact, is not fact. It is Hamas propaganda.
Well, part of the problem is international journalists aren't allowed in by the Israeli government to report on this on the ground. But I want an answer to that question I initially asked. The UN aid delivery system didn't force people to queue for this front line to get food, didn't see hundreds dying. Why have you chosen this aid delivery mechanism, which is seeing people dying every single day?
Again, this is another untruth. There have not been hundreds of people dying. Just look at this logically for a second, Ione. Why would Israel push hundreds of thousands of millions of tons of aid into Gaza then to carry out those acts which you've accused us of? It simply doesn't make sense. And let me tell you Israel's objective. It is to remove Hamas from the aid delivery process. Hamas was stealing the aid. They were charging people. You know, Ione, Gazans should get this aid for free. It is their right. It is their right to have this aid for free. Hamas was stealing the aid, charging them exorbitant prices after enriching themselves.
Why is this system being boycotted then by all humanitarian agencies who have decades of experience providing aid?
Decades of experience of propping up the Hamas regime. That's what this is about. It's about vested interests. We are starting something new here. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, separate from Israel, but supported by us and our American allies, makes a very clear distinction. It wants to get the aid directly to the people and get Hamas out of the equation because Hamas uses the funds which they raise to pay for its terrorism.
In the 12 days of this war between Israel and Iran, we've had reports that more than 860 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces, many of whom waiting for aid. And as I've stressed there, it's not just the Hamas-run health ministry, it's also medics, eyewitnesses, hospitals reporting these scenes. And it's also worth stressing the ministry's figures are used by the UN, foreign diplomats, even, according to reports in Israel, the country's own intelligence services at times. So how can you justify this? Are you seriously saying that none of those people have been killed?
The BBC, unfortunately, have a rotten record when it comes to
But
Gaza.
I'd like to know, are you denying that any of those people have been killed?
Well, this is very important because you are using undiluted Hamas propaganda. This is the fact. You are using undiluted Hamas propaganda because the BBC, unfortunately, to the world's regret, has effectively acted as the Hamas press office operating from London. These are false figures. They are incorrect. Hamas is a terrorist organization, And there is no future for the people of Gaza with Hamas in control. We want to get our hostages out. There are 50 still remaining. 20 of them, we hope, we pray, are still alive. Hamas would do well to lay down their arms, release our hostages, and then all of this suffering would be over in an instant.
Does Israel have a plan for Gaza after the war that doesn't involve removing all the inhabitants there?
Again, another propaganda talking point, very faithfully repeated by the BBC. There is a plan.
I'm just asking what the plan is.
I will share with you the plan, but the plan calls for people that want to leave, Gazans that wish to leave, voluntarily to be allowed to leave. Why would the BBC condemn Israel or condemn Gazans to stay within a war zone? If they can leave, they should be voluntarily allowed to leave.
What about those who don't want to leave,
as is
though?
The case.
What's the plan?
I'm talking about voluntarily. If they wish to leave, they can leave. And we believe that many hundreds of thousands of Gazans wish to leave this war zone. And after that, as President Trump has made clear in the White House, I was in the Oval Office when the plan was discussed, and I heard it with my very own ears. There will need to be a rebuilding process in Gaza. That can take between 15 and 20 years. Mr. Trump and Mr. Witkoff happen to know about these things because they are property developers, not Hamas propagandists like so many of you at the BBC. And that is the purpose. Our purpose is not to continue this war one moment longer than it has to be, but the future of Gaza cannot have Hamas within the equation. They should lay down their arms, release our hostages, and then the conflict is over and peace can return to the region.
David Mencer, thanks for speaking to us on Newsday. That was David Mencer, the Israeli government spokesman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate in the Office of the Prime Minister.